On August 15, 1945, World War II ended. Every soldier laid down their weapons. Every soldier except one. For the next 29 years, deep inside a Philippine jungle, one man kept fighting. He ambushed supply convoys. He lived off the land. He believed, with total certainty, that the war was still happening. The world had moved on. He hadn't. What your history teachers never told you is why. This is the story of Hiroo Onoda. It's about loyalty taken so far it becomes tragedy. It's about what happens when a man's entire identity is built on a mission that no longer exists. And it's about the moment, 30 years later, when one old soldier finally had to face the truth. Let me show you what really happened. Point 1944. The Pacific is burning. Japan is losing, though her soldiers are forbidden to believe it. The imperial military has built an army not of men, but of ideology. Surrender isn't a military option. It's a spiritual crime. Hiroo Onoda is 22 years old, a trained intelligence officer assigned to Lubang Island in the Philippines. His orders, delivered directly by his commanding officer Major Yoshimi Taniguchi, are precise. You are to conduct guerrilla warfare. You will never surrender. You will wait for us to return. In January 1945, American forces overrun the island. Most Japanese soldiers retreat or die. Onoda and 3 companions vanish into the jungle. They are not hiding. They are fighting every day. Nobody knew that those 4 men, following orders, would become the last ghosts of a war the world had already buried. August 1945, the Emperor broadcasts Japan's surrender. Leaflets are dropped over Lubang Island. Local civilians try to reach the jungle. Onoda finds the leaflets. He reads them, and he concludes they are Allied propaganda. A trick. His orders said hold out, so he holds out. One by one, his companions fall. One surrenders in 1950. 2 are killed in skirmishes. 1 in 1954, the last in 1972. By then, Onoda is alone, 50 years old, still in uniform, still ambushing, still waiting. Philippine search parties enter the jungle. His own family records a message, played through loudspeakers at the jungle's edge. Onoda hears his brother's voice, and decides it too is enemy deception. In February 1974, a young Japanese adventurer named Norio Suzuki wanders into the jungle, not on a military mission, but on a personal quest. He finds Onoda. They talk. Onoda is polite, disciplined, and immovable. He will only stand down if his commanding officer orders it personally. Suzuki returns to Japan. The Japanese government locates the now-retired Major Taniguchi, working as a bookseller. They fly him to the Philippines. On March 9, 1974, in a jungle clearing, Taniguchi formally relieves Hiroo Onoda of his duty. The war, he tells him, ended in 1945. Onoda wept. Then he laid down his rifle, still in perfect working condition, and surrendered. Onoda emerged from the jungle to a world that had rebuilt itself entirely. Japan was an economic superpower. The Philippines were a modern nation. Men had walked on the moon, and Hiroo Onoda had missed all of it because no one updated his orders. The Philippine government, remarkably, pardoned him for wartime actions committed after the war had ended. He returned to Japan as a celebrity and found he couldn't live there. The modern world felt wrong. He eventually moved to Brazil, became a cattle farmer, then returned to Japan decades later to run a youth camp teaching survival skills. Most people called him a hero. Some called him a tragedy. He called himself a soldier. He died on January 16, 2013. Age 91. Here's what history books still won't fully say. Hiroo Onoda wasn't a madman. He wasn't delusional. He was exactly what his military created. A man so thoroughly shaped by institutional loyalty that reality itself couldn't override his programming. Declassified Japanese military documents show the ideology was deliberate. Soldiers were psychologically conditioned to interpret surrender information as enemy manipulation. The system worked perfectly, too perfectly. The people who designed that conditioning were never held accountable. By the time Onoda stepped out of the jungle, they were dead, retired, or reborn as Japan's post-war economic architects. But it matters now, because we still build systems, institutions, ideologies, information environments that reward people for never questioning their orders. The jungle changes, the war ends, the mission remains. Onoda isn't a relic, he's a warning. History is full of men still fighting wars that ended without them. Next week, I'm covering another story that the official record buried for decades. Subscribe, because these are the stories that actually explain the world we're living in now. What hidden history should I cover next? Drop it in the comments. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.